All right, let's just jump right in. Today we are tackling a pretty heavy topic, and that's manipulation. But we're going to look at it through a really fascinating lens, an empathetic communication system called PEP, which stands for Practical Empathy Practice. And just so you know, everything we're diving into today comes straight out of the book, A Practical Empath, Rewire Your Mind by Scott Howard Swain. Specifically, we're unpacking chapter 22, which is titled, you guessed it, Manipulation. You know, the chapter kicks off with this incredible quote from filmmaker David Lynch. And honestly, it's the perfect place for us to start. Because as we're about to see, intuition isn't just some vague feeling. It's our most powerful shield in any conversation. So hang on to that idea of a knowingness. It's going to be a big theme here. And that leads us to the big, kind of uncomfortable question that this book just confronts head on. Is it possible for a tool that's built for creating deep connection and understanding to actually be twisted into a weapon for manipulation? It's a pretty serious question, and the author doesn't dodge it at all. Now, what's so compelling about this chapter is how the author gets into it. This isn't some dry academic breakdown. Nope. He takes us on a personal journey, and it all starts with a very surprising confession. So when someone first accused PEP of being manipulative, his first instinct was to get defensive. I mean, he completely pushed back on the idea. He argued that the whole system, its very DNA, is designed to prevent that kind of thing. And this quote right here, this gets to the absolute core of his defense. A fundamental rule of PEP is this deep, deep respect for everyone's free will. The whole point is that you only want someone to do something if they are 100% genuinely on board with it. No guilt trips, no pressure. So you can see why he'd think, how could that possibly be manipulative? Well, this slide is the moment everything pivots. After defending the ideal of the system, the author had to face a really tough truth. He straight up admits that he himself had actually used PEP to manipulate someone. It was this huge realization that any tool, no matter how good the intention behind it, can be misused, especially when you're still learning the ropes. So it all comes down to being really honest with yourself. And to help with that, the book gives us this incredibly powerful question to ask ourselves. Before you open your mouth, just check in. Is my goal right now to genuinely understand where this person is coming from? Or am I secretly hoping to change them, to get them to do what I want? That answer tells you everything you need to know about your real intention. Okay, so where does this go wrong? Where's the common tripwire? The book points to one very specific part of PEP where it's super easy to accidentally slip into manipulation. And it's all about how we talk about our needs. Now, to really get this, we have to understand this crucial difference. In the world of PEP, a need is something universal, like we all have a need for comfort or connection or nourishment. A strategy, on the other hand, is the specific action you take to meet that need. So your need might be nourishment, but your strategy is, I want someone to cook dinner for me. They are absolutely not the same thing. And here is a perfect example of how that mix-up can sound. Saying, I really need you to cook dinner is sneaky, right? It takes a specific strategy, you cooking, and disguises it as this urgent, non-negotiable need. It puts all the pressure on the other person. But look at the PEP way. You state your feeling, I'm hungry and tired, and then you make a clear, honest request. Are you up for cooking? See the difference? That leaves space for them to give a real yes or a real no. In fact, the author goes a step further and says that maybe the word needs itself is part of the problem, because it just sounds so demanding sometimes. He suggests that maybe thinking of them as our values or wants or desires can actually get us closer to the real spirit of PEP, which is all about consent and taking responsibility for ourselves. Okay, so we've seen the problem, we've seen the pitfalls. But here's the good news. PEP has what the book calls an anti-manipulation code built right into its DNA. These are the core practices that, if you're doing them for real, act as these amazing safeguards. So here are the 5 big ones. First, you actively practice letting go of your own agenda so you can truly hear what's going on for the other person. Second, you're not looking for a compromise where everyone loses something. You're shooting for consensus where everyone feels like their needs are met. Third, you own your feelings. You'd say, I felt sad when that happened, not, you made me sad. Fourth, you make real requests, not demands in disguise. And number 5, you learn to trust that intuition, that knowingness we talked about right at the start. And that brings everything full circle, back to that crucial final point. What's so amazing about practicing PEP is that it's not just about changing how you talk. It actually sharpens how you listen. You start to feel the energy behind people's words. It fine-tunes your intuition, so you can just tell when something feels off, when a yes doesn't actually feel like a real yes. Your own gut feeling becomes your best shield. So let's just boil it all down. What are the big takeaways from this chapter? Well, first, that any tool can be misused, especially by accident when we're just starting out. Second, that the biggest trap is getting our strategies mixed up with our real core needs. But third, and this is the most important part, the practice itself has these built-in protections, and over time, it strengthens your single greatest asset in communication, your intuition. And the book leaves us with this final, kind of mind-bending question to chew on. What even is manipulation, really? I mean, when you pick out a specific outfit for a job interview or put on deodorant before a date, is that a form of manipulation? It's a deep question, and it really challenges us to look at where that line is in all of our own daily interactions. Definitely something to think about.